Just how is everybody, like, first of all, has everyone come through training the last few days?
Yeah, everybody great. Obviously, we got back to tour on Wednesday after a couple of great days. Great days off. So some of the lads obviously stayed in Paris. Some came straight back here with the families. Got back here late Wednesday evening. Had a walk through on Thursday. So we effectively mirrored Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on Thursday, Friday, and today. So a nice kind of walk through organisational day on Thursday, and then full days yesterday and today. So all 33 trained, which is great, and all in good form. So great position to be in after 4 weeks in France, and obviously a long pre-season as well. To have 33 fit players is just fantastic from our point of view.
And Conor, you made again such an impact when you came on against South Africa the last day. Compared to the other World Cups you've been in, like, how do you feel your form is now? Like, do you feel you're as playing as well as you have ever done?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. Yeah, I think having an opportunity to get a really good pre-season in has really helped. And then the whole squad. At the moment we're near full fitness in terms of players across the board, and I suppose different to other World Cups where your role might be a little bit different, but coming on and trying to either steer the ship home or make an impact. So right now I feel good, and that's what you want to do. You want to come on and contribute positively to the team, and probably the most nervous I've ever been coming onto a game, just because it was such a big occasion and the game was so tense. You didn't want to be the person to make a mistake or whatever. But came on, and I suppose as the lads that did come on, helped the team, and we really fought for each other towards the end of that game. It wasn't perfect, and it was nerve-wracking. So just relieved and happy to come on and help the team.
How has winning a silverware with Munster in the summer given you confidence over the last couple of months?
I don't think it's changed much in terms of being in camp and being with the Irish squad. I think it's a little bit separate, to be honest with you. Just the wait. I think it was 12 years. When I came into the Magners League side and we won the Magners League, it was great, and I suppose I expected it to be like that every year from then on, and it obviously hasn't been. So just satisfying that we've gone through that journey together, and we've finally gotten over the line. It's a bit of a distant memory at the moment, but huge for Munster, huge for the club, and especially a few of us older lads who have been there since those Magners League days to be able to stick it out, I suppose, and come back year after year and try, and it was just really satisfying. Yeah.
To go back on the Sinead bit about your own form, is there anything you've kind of changed in the last few months that's kind of triggered an extra bit out of yourself?
No, just I'm enjoying playing rugby. Being in this environment, I suppose you've heard every player say it, that it's a really enjoyable, competitive environment to be in, and that brings out the best of you as players, and the coaching staff pushing us day in, day out. That's certainly one element, and the other would be going into pre-season knowing that there was an opportunity to go to a World Cup. Very lucky or fortunate to have been to a few already, but the chance to go with this group and this management and coaching setup, I knew was going to be really exciting, and I suppose the potential there is really exciting too. So that's probably something in the back of your mind that's motivating you to push on.
Finally, if we all going to plan, Peter O'Mahony could be getting a 100th Irish cap against Scotland. He's someone obviously go back a very, very long way.
Yeah, all going well. Pete's. I've been around with Pete since I think Munster under 16s. So I've known Pete for a very long time, and I suppose we've shared the club journey and the international journey pretty much side by side, and we've a lot of the same experiences. So it'll be I'm grateful that I got to get to that milestone, and it's a huge day for himself and his family and everyone that's worked with him the whole way up. So hopefully it all goes to plan, and Pete gets to that milestone, because it's a very special club.
That's it.
Conor, can I just ask you about Scotland? I know that don't make a fixture with us 10 years on the club, but it's footy. Does that count for anything?
Not really. All those games, and especially in the last few years that I've played against Scotland, they've all been really tight fixtures. some of the scoreboards might read a little bit differently, but genuinely Scotland are top side, and they pose an awful lot of threats across the board. And having worked with Gregor a couple of years ago, their attacking game is something that will cause a lot of stress, and it'll make sure we prepare really, really well, as good if not better than we prepared for South Africa. It's about turning the page now and realising we're up against the top international side that have an awful lot to play for. So that record, I don't think counts for much. You know what I mean? Same with our record. Having been on a good run of form coming into this World Cup. Yeah, it's nice to know, but it's about what you do now once you're in competition. So I expect them to really test us in every department.
Very exciting to see a little bit linked people maybe with the rhythm side. It's delivered also stuff like that. Basically, really happy with this moment. So that's nice to win this.
No, zero, and that's not something that we're just saying in media. It's like I said, we've had huge battles with Scotland over the years, and especially recently, they've really developed their game. And I think if you were Scotland, they said it afterwards that they were upset with the way they performed against South Africa. They didn't show the best version of themselves. So we know, obviously they're in the Six Nations. We play them every year. We know how good they can be, and we're certainly not overlooking them. That might be the story outside, but I can assure you it's completely different in here.
I think here is video on social media. We say that you've been in contact with them, so great.
Yeah, I mean the medics and S&C would be in regular contact with Keane and I'm sure other players back home as well to see how their fitness levels are. So I think it's great to see Keane back training and training well. Possibly later in the term, if we get an injury, Keane would be a great addition if he was fully fit. So I say it's good to see him back training, but it will require an injury to another player for Keane to be available to come in.
On a more general point, how you keeping the lad obviously there's a huge focus on what's going on here, but the Munster event in today, Leinster in Castle next week. There's a lot of stuff going on outside of the camp, and those players are still of interest because we don't know what will happen. And how do Andy and the team manage that out?
Yeah, I think that there was a lot of conversations, with the provinces during pre-season as to how we would keep the players fit that are not in the World Cup squad. And you saw that there's a mini interprovincial series going on at the moment. Leinster played Ulster, I think, the other night, and Munster obviously played Leinster as well. So the likes of whether it be Jamie Osborne or Gavin Coons and Kieran Treadwell, there's guys that are getting kind of regular game time, which is brilliant, because I think initially the provinces might have kind of said, well, we may not start playing pre-season game until a little bit later. So really good, I think, from our point of view, that these guys are getting game time and will actually be match fit if they're called in, which it's always a possibility.
I know you work with a lot of players and kind of things outside of rugby. You were manager. Peter won his first cap, or certainly his first couple of seasons.
Yeah.
How have you seen him develop as a person? Maybe not a player, but the kind of man.
Yeah, Peter got his first cap against England back in 2013. Very young back then. I think he was probably maybe 22 years of age. So I've obviously seen a lot of Peter. I've worked with him for a very long time. I think that he was always a leader. I think he may have been captain of the under-20 team prior to that. So he was always a leader, but I think his leadership qualities have probably developed incredibly well. You saw when he went on the Lions, I think in 2017, that he was captain of that first test team. So it just showed you, I think, the esteem that he has held in, not only I think within our environment, but also internationally. He's kind of quietly spoken, Peter, but he has a great knack of saying the right thing. I think that he leads very much by his actions as well. He brings some incredible dynamic, I think, to the team environment, and has been a really important leader within the environment over a very long period of time. So if he does get his 100th cap next Saturday, I think it will be incredibly well deserved.
You'd be part of one-off Irish wins. I mean, Saturday was arguably most intense watching it even. But like, what's different about this team in terms of backing it up? You know, maybe Australia and Rev, it's the Wales game didn't go on a plan, 15 didn't go on a plan. You know, what's different this time?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think before we, like a good few years ago, we get a one-off win, and then the next week, whether it be November series or whatever, we drop off performance-wise, and we addressed it back then. I think we started properly addressing it about being consistent, and I think nowadays this team is really good at flipping the page and focusing on what's next. And I said it a minute ago about it, in another interview about it being a cliche thing about the next moment, and obviously people are talking about what's down the line and knockout rugby and all that, but genuinely within our four walls we're talking about Scotland, and that's the next biggest challenge for us. We obviously have a plan or of where we want to go or whatever, but it's about doing the right thing now, and I think that's been one of our strengths over the last few seasons is backing up performances, because years ago it used to be an issue, but I think we're a better side nowadays as well, and on top of that, and we're mentally better equipped to go back to back in games.
Just on that is the fact that you had that break and you've had it one extra week now. Does that help to reset that? Is it part of the game, or is that something that you've stepped on out over the years?
Yeah, I think it's good to get a week break, especially after something that intense. Now, if we had a game this weekend, I fully expect us to be able to prepare and recover and get ready for it. But maybe the size of that game and how much it took out of you emotionally. When we got back to the hotel on Saturday night, everyone was spent just from the game and the emotion of it all. So maybe it's good timing to kind of freshen up and turn that page and review the game and get a good look at Scotland, because they have a huge amount to play for next Saturday, and we got to be ready for them as much as we were for South Africa.
Obviously, getting an extra 3 to 4 or 5 days preparation for Scotland on the training field. How much does that benefit? What were the States you've been together for so long, since June, whatever? Does it make a difference having those few days?
Yeah, the longer you get to look at opposition and scout them, and you prepare your team and iron out a few things that didn't go quite according to plan against South Africa, it can only benefit you. And on side of that is that the coaches know how much is too much, and you're not. I think they have a really good balance about when we work really hard or to give us a few easier sessions. You know what I mean? I think they get that balance really well. So this week was really good. It was about resetting, reviewing, and starting to look at Scotland. And we had a great session, an intense session this morning, and we get a day off now and kind of feel fresh going into next week.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Mick. Thanks, Carl.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, go on. What's your name? You have a really big head.